Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're all doing very, very well today. Um, and I hope you've been having a great beginning to the week. The weeks just seem to be flying by so quickly. And before you know it, we're at the weekend. So just enjoy the week and, enjoy the bit of sunshine that's been coming out from time to time as well. My name is Carol Allen, and I'm your host for today. So it's wonderful to have you here and to share this particular webinar today. Today is all about you, and thank you so much for showing up to invest in yourself. This is your time, and I would like to get to know a little bit about you. So let me know in the chat box where you are at in your business. Are you an established business? Are you a pre-start? Or are you someone who's actually just started your business? So are you established? Are you at the point of just the idea, or have you already started? Now, just a little bit of housekeeping. It's always a good idea. If you would like to ask any questions as we go through this webinar, then do put it in the chat. This webinar is going to be for approximately 3 hours. You will get a 10-minute break at the top of each hour. And, we'll get ourselves refreshed and then come back. You'll also be getting a copy of these slides and this particular webinar. So, but one of the things that I always advise, people who come to these webinars to do is to always have a pen and paper, because you never know, what nuggets I'm going to drop, and you probably might just want to catch them. So do have a pen and paper. It's always a good idea to take notes. They say, psychologists say that, a person only retains 10% of what you tell them, but if you've got pen and paper, then you've got it written down. So, and I love repetition. So let me just see where you're all at. Right, so Lee says he's at the beginning stage. Gwyneth's a pre-start. George is a pre-start. Charlene started, but was a hobby and word of mouth. So you've already started, okay. So George, okay, George says great. Joe says, I'm an established business and use LinkedIn a lot. I'm really wanting to know about this for my triathlon club, as I've taken on the role of PR manager, although I may as well use it for my own business, okay, which is engineering consultancy. Okay, got it, Joe. George says repetition, repetitio est master. Okay, so is that it? Oh, it's Latin. Okay, okay. Right, and okay, Lee says, okay, thank you, Lee. Okay, thank you very much. Right, okay, so it seems like most of you are either at the pre-start level, or you're probably at the started or established. So it seems like we've got a mixed bunch, so that's great. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so as I said, my name's Carol Allen, and I'll just introduce myself. And after I've introduced myself and introduced the company, then I'll take myself off the screen so we can focus more on this particular webinar. So my background is in education and also in business. I've been in education for 25 years. I've done a number of roles in further education. And, I've worked in the roles of head of department, lecturer, and also principal as well. My last role in education was a principal, and then I went on to teach post-16 students molecular science, working with government contracts and private contracts as well. And that's exactly what I did in the day job in education. So education is a place that I absolutely love to be. I then left education after a while and then went on to work with teachers, where I was coaching them to become business owners and entrepreneurs like yourself. So that's what I did. I've owned businesses online as well as offline, doing a number of different things. So, working in social media is something that I've done for a number of years. My training has been in social media and marketing, and that was done in the USA. And I was taught by some of the best in the world. So, I've got quite an extensive background in what we're going to be talking about today. So I'll try and make this particular webinar as relatable to yourselves as much as possible and to your business. And, so that you've got something tangible that you can actually apply to what you're going to be doing in regards to social media. So let me know, if you are an active user on social media and which particular platform are you on, and then we'll take it from there. So, okay, I can see, so someone's saying, Carol, I am Charlene, whom went to Barnfield College. Charlene, oh gosh, I've had, were you one of my students? Let me know, because I've had so many. I've had thousands and thousands of students. So let me know if you were one of my students, Charlene. And what's your surname? So Charlene says she's using TikTok and Instagram. Okay, was beauty and hair. Oh my gosh, that's probably going back to the early 90s, is it? Or is it 2000 and whatever? I don't know. That was okay. Right. Okay. Oh gosh, Charlene, I unless I saw your face, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, very, very long time ago. Were you one of my students, Charlene? Let me know. Or were you more on the beauty side of what you were doing? So Gwyneth says that use only for personal and social reasons, Facebook and Twitter. Okay, that's great. Does anyone sell on social media? Do you actually sell anything on these platforms? So also, one of the things that I'd like you to let me know is, what do you actually do? What are you selling? What are you selling to your potential ideal clients? So Chris says he sells photographs. Is it a particular type of photograph, Chris, that you sell? So Jan says her business idea is aimed at the 50+ market. Do you think Facebook and Instagram are the best ones? At 50+, it depends on what you're selling, Jan. 50+ is where you will definitely find people that are on Facebook. You'll find the 50+ on Facebook. But what are you selling? Because that will depend as well. If you're selling professional services, then I'll say that you need to be on LinkedIn. But you said that you're selling a service. What kind of service are you selling? Charlene said she's got a cake business. She does wedding cakes and celebrations. That's absolutely fantastic. So Charlene, I would say that you would need to be on TikTok as well as on Instagram as well. Okay, so Jan says nutrition and fitness. I would say LinkedIn. I would say LinkedIn and Facebook. You would do quite well as well on Instagram, Jan, but nutrition, there's a lot of people that are into nutrition on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is going to give you a different kind of clientele as well. The people on LinkedIn work with, they're there because they're professionals, and they're there because they like to work with either business to business or business to consumers. So they're there because they want to have a professional profile on that platform. They know why they're there. So you're going to get a better quality of client over there. So Joe says, for club, I'm selling places. Let me go back to you. I'm selling places at our races and membership, all ages. Our races for children and beginners. Right. What kind of club is it, Joe? And Gwyneth says, I also want to start a podcast on being a leader. Then LinkedIn would be a great place to do that then, Gwyneth. Charlene says, I photograph corporate events, celebrations. Hang on, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Charlene says, if this is recorded, then how do we access after the session? It will be sent to you, Charlene. It will be sent to you, probably not this week, probably the beginning of next week, but you'll receive it through your email. So Lee says, I photograph corporate events, celebrations, not weddings, and looking to photographing pets, no bears. And Gwyneth says, not sure if you saw my first point about my business. I think I did read it out, didn't I, Gwyneth? Okay, right. So thank you so much for letting me know what you sell. It sounds like you're selling a number of different things. So it sounds like you're selling some services and also products as well. So Joe says the club is a triathlon club, which takes all standards from beginners to up to Ironman and GB races. We run one race a year for children, and this year is for beginners. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. Let me just make sure I've not missed anything. So Chris has said interior posters too, so that's what you sell. Okay. Well, thank you so much for letting me know what you sell. So let's just move into the information about this webinar. And I'll give you an opportunity to read that. That's a great idea, Gwyneth. I'm sure you'll do very, very well in working with leaders as well. Okay, so as I said before, this particular webinar is being recorded. You will get a copy of all the slides, and they will probably come out to you probably sometimes next week. So you'll get this webinar and you'll get the slides as well. So don't worry, but do have pen and paper. If you do have questions, put the questions in the chat box. If you do see someone in the chat box who you want to talk to, then respectfully, just please send them a direct message. And it's a way really of just ensuring that I can read any questions coming through. Whereas if you're having a conversation in the chat and there's lots of backwards and forwards going on, I won't be able to see the questions. So I don't want to miss any of the questions. I want to ensure that I answer all of your questions, and I want to do my best to be able to do that. So, but the webinar recording link will come out to you. If not this week, it will be sometime next week. And do stay engaged, because the more you engage is the more you will get out of this particular webinar. So, the more you'll enjoy the learning experience as well. So let me just tell you a little bit about Wenta. So Wenta's been around for 40 years this year. We're going to be celebrating this September. And, don't be surprised if you do all get an invitation as well to what we're going to be doing. So we have got offices in Stevenage, Enfield, Watford and Luton. And we also rent out virtual desks, offices and workshops. And that depends on what kind of business you have. That will determine whether you go for a virtual desk, an office or a workshop, because there are people that are doing various types of manual work that needs a workshop. And, as well as there are other small businesses that are doing things where they need an office. You could be an accountant, you could be, even a photographer or whoever you are. You may need an office. We rent those out as well. And, if you have gone through the process, as we all did throughout COVID, where we were all stuck in our homes, and we're dying to get out, you could also rent a desk from us. And this is what a lot of people have appreciated, as well as, the various other types of ways of how you could rent what we have. So our car parking facilities are completely free. We offer mailing services as well. So I highly recommend that, when you do start your business, if you've not already started it, do use a professional mailing service rather than your home. your home address. We offer virtual addresses at £13 plus VAT per month. So if you want to sign up to, HMRC or register at Companies House, then we do offer a virtual address for you. So we also offer one-to-one Zoom meetings as well as telephone meetings as well, and these webinars. And all those services, the Zooms, the telephone meetings, and the webinars are completely free. So, we like to, if you like, be that kind of one-stop shop to be able to support you, the small business owner. And I suppose, we like to see ourselves as that. So that's a little bit about Wenta. We have been around for quite a long time, as I've said, and we're doing quite a lot to be able to work with our small business owners. Last year we launched 2 different new products. We launched Net Zero, and we also launched Savings. So, when we take a break, do go and have a look and see what's over there in our on our website. You'll see Net Zero. Net Zero is all about how to reduce the carbon emissions in your business. We hold your hands, take you through that. We've got a 4-tier level over there on our website, and the bronze level is completely free. So if that is something that you would like to take advantage of, it's completely free for now. We don't know if it will be always free. And then we have the silver subscription level, which is the paid level right through to Gold Plus. And, Net Zero is all about sustainability. It's all about how to become more eco-friendly, to support and help the planet by not putting emissions into it, by doing various things like leaving the lights on too long, leaving the taps running, and so on and so on. So, we kind of take you through, and we've got over there, we've got training that you can watch. We've also got resources that you can go through, and they become a lot more comprehensive from the paid version and more interactive for yourself as well. Right, so Lee's saying, what are the benefits of CPD certificate? And do you also offer photo studio looking for pet photography? To my knowledge, Lee, I've not heard that we offer any photo studio, but we do have offices that you could probably set up as a studio if you wanted to do some photography there. And the benefits of CPD certificate is that you can actually use any of our training. They are CPD certified, as you can see, and you will get a certificate for actually attending today, and you can use that towards your personal development. It could be, something that you're using towards what you do if you're in a job, or for your own personal development. So it is accredited. It just means that you've attended for 3 hours, and you've learned whatever it is that you need to learn from this particular webinar. So it's all accredited. So that's good for you. That's good for you. So Charlene saying, is there any funding available for us to start up? The funding ended on the 1st of March, Charlene. So we haven't got any more funding right now. So Joe is saying, as a chartered engineer, I'm expected to undertake CPD. Well, we've got a list of different trainings in our portfolio, Joe. You can go and have a look on our website under, so if you go to wenta.co.uk/trainings, and then you can have a look what's there and what you can participate in. It won't be coming back for no, Charlene. We don't have a time limit on when it's coming back. We have no idea. So we don't really know. So, okay. Right, so thank you so much for all of those questions. We are now about to start our webinar, and I'm just going to minimize me and hide myself. Okay, so Joe, I'll come back to your answer kind of midway. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. So let's just talk a little bit about social media, because that's why you are all here today. And social media has been around for quite a long time now. And, it's come in many, many forms. It's gone through many transformations over the years. And, you'll find now that people are using social media for different reasons. And people want to be on social media to be able to support their business moving forward. And if you are not already on social media, then I would highly recommend and suggest that you do get onto social media. If you're not active on social media, I'd also recommend that you become active on social media. Why? Because the algorithm, there is something called the algorithm, and you will find the algorithm on every social media platforms. And the algorithm measures activity. It measures how active you are as an individual on a particular social media platform. Is that a good thing? Yes, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because if you have got a website and you are using that website as the first part of your marketing funnel, then it's a good idea to be active, because activity is measured through, when you are engaged, when you are commenting, liking, sharing, you're doing something physically on social media, and the algorithm on whatever platform you're on will pick that up. Another thing that I would like you to become aware of is that Google is the largest search engine in the world, and Google collects what we call data. Every time someone goes to search for something, Google is going to pick that data up. So what normally happens, let's just say you go to search for a photographer. And in Google, you can see to the left-hand side of your search how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people have already searched for a photographer. So and you can see how popular that particular profession is, depending on how many people search for it. Some are more popular than others. And, some of the searches will run into millions, some will run into just thousands. So the point being is, Google owns YouTube. Now, when you search, what happens is Google will speak to all of the social media platforms. So let's just say that, as we'll use photography as an example again, you're searching for a photographer, and Google has gone and told all the social media platforms that people searching for photography or photographers is very popular. So let's just say you're in that profession and you're posting your content on a particular, or maybe a couple of different social media platforms, what will happen is the algorithm will keep pushing people towards your thing. Because if you are a photographer and people are searching for photographers, then the algorithm is going to push people towards your website, towards your social media, towards the content that you're putting out there. And this is why you've got to become, and I say got to become, visible on social media. And there is a way to do it. You don't need to spend every moment of the day on there, because this is something that people ask a lot. So, these are some of the kind of things that we're actually going to talk about here today on this webinar. This is the content that we'll be covering in the first part of the webinar. So let's talk a little bit about the channels, the networking, and the streaming. So, all social media platforms are known as what we call networking platforms. So there's a lot of people out there that will use social media specifically for business purposes. They are not interested in all the things that are being posted. All they're interested in is networking and doing business. And there are people that started their business 12, 24 months ago, and they're already hitting 7 figures. Why? Because they are open to a whole range of people online that they wouldn't normally be open to if they were running their business offline. Now, there are people that are doing what we call the hybrid version, where they're both online as well as offline. So they might have a shop or, something, an office or something offline, but they're doing a lot of work online as well. And that's a great idea. But there are other people that are solely online, and that's the only place they do their business. So you've got to decide, looking at the versions of what you're doing in your business and deciding how much of that do you want to be online versus how much do you want to be offline. It could be that you need to see your clients face to face, but then you can actually see your clients over Zoom if you don't want to see them face to face, because that's what we were all forced to do when we had the lockdown, and a lot of people are still doing it now. You've got a lot of solicitors and other professionals that have closed down their offices to be online because it works for them. So you've got to decide, what do you want to do with the channels that you want to be on? How do you want to network, and how do you want to meet your clients' needs? It could be through streaming, it could be through posting directly. How do you want to reach out and market yourself to these clients? And that's something else that we're going to be talking about. But the most popular streaming channel right now online is without doubt YouTube, because YouTube is a streaming channel, and we all know that when you go over YouTube, you will only see videos after videos of how to do this and how to do that. You'll see a lot of influence over there, and some of them have got millions of followers and thousands, and it's not difficult, my friend, to build a YouTube channel. If your business would benefit from a YouTube channel, I would recommend that you start a channel. Now, I'm going to give you stories, and I'll probably share maybe a couple of stories with you today. I've got a friend who is a school teacher in the United States, and she teaches her students over there, and she decided that she's going to start a YouTube channel. And she didn't, start the channel with the intention for it to be anything great. She just did it because she loved what she did as a hobby. And what she does is gardening. And one of the things that she does on her channel, she'll talk about the different types of bulbs you can buy that you can plant into a particular type of soil. She'll talk about, how deep you need to dig the soil in order to put the bulb in, and how much water to put in to cover it up. And she'll go into this depth of detail about these bulbs, and then she'll show you how long it takes for them to blossom and turn into something beautiful later on, like a flower or a plant or something. And within the first year, she got 9,000 people subscribed to her channel. In year 2, which she's at 2.5, heading towards her 3rd year, she's already got over 22,000 people. Now, I've told you that to show you how quickly you could easily build up a following. Why is it important to know this? Because you can actually get a passive income from YouTube. YouTube sends out monthly checks. Now, let me tell you how they do it, because YouTube has got criteria that you've got to meet in order to be able to benefit from this. One of their criteria is you've got to have just over 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 or more subscribers. That's the first thing. The next thing is they want you to have at least 4,000 watch hours. So people have got to have watched your content that you put up each day or week or whenever over a period of 4,000 hours. Once YouTube sees that there is a great interest for your content, what YouTube will then start to do is to put ads that people pay for under your content. And as long as people watch those ads, what will happen is YouTube pays you for every single ad that is watched. And some people are earning 5 and 6 figures passive income just from people, watching ads that's posted underneath their content. So my friend that I was telling you about in the US, she's nearly replaced her teaching salary just by having that site that she's got with over 20,000 people on it, because her 20,000 are very, very active users. They love the channel, and you know, they stick with whatever video she puts up. And to be honest with you, she doesn't even put up videos that are long. Some of her videos are 20 minutes, 30 minutes, no more than that. And she is earning a very, very decent passive income from just doing that. So think about whether or not your business is the kind of business that could benefit from something like this, because it would be worth you starting a channel. You know, if you're into food, photography is a great thing to do over on YouTube. If you're into food, if you're into keep fit, anything to do with the creative arts is great to do on the channel. So this was a particular post that, you know, kind of just reminded us of the different types of social media that used to be about. I don't know whether or not anyone still uses Skype. Does anyone use Skype? Skype was one of the ways of how we used to connect, you know, back in the early 2000s, and lots of people still use Skype today. Does anyone use Pinterest at all? Pinterest is great for creatives. You know, if you're into web designing, you know, web development or graphic designing or photography or making cakes or anything to do with creating something, Pinterest is definitely the place for you to showcase what you do. And although, you know, Pinterest doesn't have, how shall I say, it hasn't got the billions of people on it like what Facebook has got. Facebook's got 2.8 billion and growing. YouTube has got 2.6 billion and growing. But Pinterest has got, you know, hundreds of millions of people and still growing, because there's lots of creatives that are doing very, very well from the things that they're pinning over there every day. So you can build up a very good following on Pinterest. So, you know, if you are a creative, don't discount Pinterest as well. So, you know, we're all familiar with Twitter and Facebook. Let me see if you like being on Facebook, because every time I do, you know, a webinar and Facebook comes up, some people cringe because they don't like Facebook. You know, but if your clients are over on Facebook, then I would suggest that's where you need to be putting your content on Facebook, because that's going to make a difference to how you speak to your clients, to how you reach them. You know, that's where you need to be marketing. When you go on Facebook, I always say that you need to have a strategy. You know, don't just go on and consume everyone else's content, because what is going to happen is you're going to end up spending a lot of time on the platform and not getting any of your own work done. So, you know, have a strategy when you do go over. So Joe's saying, I love Facebook. I was told that it was for old people. Oh, no, it's not. It's not for old people. And it depends. And it depends on how you want to use the platform. You know, the age demographics that are actually on Facebook are from 40 upwards. You will find your 70 and your 80-year-olds on Facebook as well, but that age group is not the predominance that's on the platform. It's people between 40s and 50s and 60s. Now, if you call that old, I don't really call that old at all, because, you know, it's all according to how people feel, but it is a platform for the more mature people. On Instagram, I would say it's anywhere between, you know, 25 to 35. That's the kind of age demographic that you'll find over there. TikTok is a lot younger, but then saying that, there's a lot of people that are on TikTok right now, and TikTok's absolutely booming. And although there's a lot of young people on there and they love to watch quick, snappy, short videos, you know, it doesn't really mean that, you know, mature people can't be over there as well, because there's lots of businesses now that are doing very, very well over on TikTok. So, you know, if you're selling something that you know that young people will resonate with, then TikTok is where you need to be. So, but different age demographics you will find across the different platforms. On LinkedIn, you're going to find people in their 30s, right through to even people in their 60s and 70s. Because as I said, it's a business to business platform as well as a professional career driven platform as well. So how will you get noticed? Well, this is one of the questions that I really want to ask you today, because, a lot of people don't often consider how will they get noticed. What people tend to think when they're going online is it's quite saturated. There's a lot of people on, and you begin to believe, will you ever get noticed? Because there's so many millions of people on these platforms. But the way you get noticed, it's through how you position yourselves. It's through your messaging. It's through whether or not you really do know your niche, the people that you serve. It's through what you have to offer in terms of, services or products. And it's also your price points as well. There's, something called the 4 Ps. And when the 4 Ps are working together, so the way you promote yourself, being on the right channel, having the right market, and having the right price points will help you. And the messaging is very, very important. Your ideal client will hear you as long as you know exactly who they are. So let me know in the chat box if you do know who your ideal clients are, or do you think it's something that you have to guess, or you're not too sure. So everyone is fighting for their share of the algorithm, and having the right kind of content is very, very important to who sees that content that you put out. Because your ideal clients are very, very intuitive. They're very in tune with what they want. They know what they want. They will pay for what they want. And, they love when you add value. People don't like to be sold to. So I don't like to use the word, selling someone something. I would rather use the word serving them with something, because that's what you're doing. You're adding value to your particular ideal client. And as you add value, they will pay you for that value. And that's the way it works. So who are your ideal clients? So Lee says pet owners, small businesses, and families. Now, there are a lot of small businesses, Lee. So what kind of small businesses are you referring to? So drill down a little bit more. And when you say families, what kind of families? Lee, remind me what you do again, because it's kind of got lost up at the top of the chat box. So Joe says she sells memberships for triathlon, 26 to 65, not sure who decision makers are for children. That would be parents. Right, so Lee says, I'm a photographer. Right, okay, that's it, yeah. So, so you photograph pet owners and small businesses, but what kind of small businesses though? Because there's so many. George says SMEs, but what kind of SMEs, George? Be specific, drill right down so you know exactly who your target audience are, because it's a bit like if you say females, there are so many different types of females. If you say males, there are so many different types of males. So is it, young professionals? Is it mature professionals? Is it women that are in, the legal profession, or are they in the dentistry profession? Be more specific with who you're saying your ideal clients are, because when you're more specific, my friend, what will happen is you will be able to create content specifically for those people, and it's those people that will resonate with what you have to sell. When you keep it broad, you're going to miss the target on who you're trying to attract. So you've got to try and get as specific as possible. So let me just go back. In fact, let me just take a quick drink. Hang on a minute. So Gwyneth's saying head teachers and CEOs. I like that, Gwyneth. In education, the decision makers for CPD, that's great. Life coaching wider, but not narrowed down yet. But head teachers and CEOs in education is narrow. That is quite good. So George says, and already have experience in almost all the SIC fields. What does SIC, what's that abbreviated for, George? And Lee says, portraits for websites, not sure what's that called, and corporate events. Okay, well, that works really well. So if you're focused on pets, Lee, that works really well. Corporate events, so that would work as well. You'd have to kind of look at whether you know, what kind of corporate events you do, because there's lots of corporate events that happens outside as well as inside. So, you know, you'd have to think about, or is it any one of those? I don't know. So George says, got your point. Okay. Jan says, my clients are 50 to 75, mainly female, who want to get a little bit fitter from the privacy of their own home. I absolutely love it, Jan. That is a perfect way of niching down. You've just niched right down to the core right there, Jan. You've mentioned the age gap. You've mentioned the fact that they're females, and you've mentioned the fact that they want to get fit. So your messaging should be specific and they will hear you clearly because you know who they are. So you will know how to talk to them. That's great. So Martin says, the niche is small, non-speaking English home renovation owners. So that sounds great as well, Martin. So small, non-speaking English home renovation owners. Okay, got it. Well done. So George is saying, indeed. Charlene says weddings and tutorials. And I would imagine that there's some more there, Charlene. So, okay. So, your niche then, Charlene, you're saying it's for people who are getting married. Yes. So for people who are getting married and people who want to learn what in a tutorial. What will you be teaching them in a tutorial? So Chris says SIC stands for Standard Industry Classification in Construction. Okay, thank you for enlightening me on that, Chris. George says classification of national activities, if I will remember the abbreviation. Right, okay. Lee said, I'd like examples, please. What do you mean, Lee? Please explain to me what you mean. I don't know what you want examples of. Charlene says, tutorials on 3D cakes. Okay, so who would be interested then, Charlene, to attend or watch tutorials on a 3D cake? Would those tutorials be online? Or would you do workshops with people that you invite them into a particular place where you can do the tutorials with them? Or would you do it through the route of a course? So how would you do your tutorials? So Joe says, should I try and reach children as well as parents? Focus on the parents, Joe. If the children are underage, focus on the parents. You'll reach the children through the parents. So, oh, I see. So Lee says outside examples of outside corporate events. Well, there's lots of corporates that do team building. They do team building and leadership meetings, and they do things outside. We've got a client here at Wenta that takes a lot of these corporate people out for outdoor activities, and he works with corporate companies. So, you know, he takes them for walking in the woods, he takes them for team building and all sorts of other things. So it just depends on whatever companies do. But that would be your kind of medium to larger size companies that would have budgets to do that kind of thing, versus your small business owners. That would be a different kind of niche. And also as well, Lee, it would I always say it's a good idea. If you're going to work with a corporate company, go and have a look on Companies House and see what kind of, income they turn over. That gives you a clue as to, you know, whether these companies would have great budgets for things like offering outdoor activities to their employees. There's lots of companies here in the UK that does that. Okay, so thank you so much for that. So, so consider how you will get noticed. And, you know, the fact that, you know, we've just gone through the exercise of niching down and how to niche down and being really specific. If you remember anything that I'm going to say today, is specificity is key. And that was something that I was always taught by one of my coaches, to be as specific as possible, because in terms of who your ideal clients are, the more specific you are, is the more you will know exactly who your ideal clients are. You will know what their pain points are. You will know what frustrates them. You will know what they need. You will know how to serve them. And, you know, and it's all about reaching the right people on social media. This is why some businesses that have started up less than a year are doing so well and making very, very good money online. It's because they know they've got to know really, really well who their ideal clients are. So when they speak with an authority of being specific, and their ideal clients hear the messaging that they put out there through the content that they put out there online. So this is where, you know, I want you to get to in your business so that you don't miss the target. So why use social media? And I'll just give you a moment to read that. So although, social media is free, and it's a great place to take advantage of, growing your business. It's free. We don't know if at some point in the future we will ever be charged to go on social media. We don't know. So it's free right now. So take advantage of the whole, thing to do with social media. Don't, consider yourself too small to be on social media. Don't think to yourself, well, no one knows me. It's going to take too long for me to grow my following, and so on and so on. It doesn't have to. Your following will grow on the basis of your messaging and the content that you put out. We've got a webinar on content marketing. I've done many of them. My colleagues have done many of them. Please do go to sign up to one of these webinars and, get to know what you have to do in order to put the right type of content out there. So social media, won't cost you any money to post things unless you're doing a paid ad. What social media will cost you is your time. And if time is money, it would make more sense to me if you have a business and you're at the stage of whether you want to start it or whether you want to grow it, it would make more sense to outsource the things that you can't do. So if you can't build your website yourself, outsource it to someone who can. If you can't run your ad campaigns yourself, outsource it to someone who can. If you can't create the content that speaks ideally to your, your ideal clients, outsource it to someone who can. Yes, it's going to cost money, but then that will be money worth spent. And remember, that's money that you're investing into your own business. So never see an investment as something that's expensive. always look at it as something that's going to take you to the next level. So it's growing your business. Look at it that way. So reframe how you're seeing it. Nothing's expensive if it's going to make you money. If it doesn't make you any money, then it's very expensive. So, social media can actually drive traffic to your website. How many times do you personally end up on someone else's website, not even realizing how that website got in front of you? You may think it's an accident. You may think you bumped into it, but you didn't. It was deliberate. So, you want the algorithms to do the heavy lifting for you. And this is why you need to be active. And we're going to talk a little bit later about how you can be active without being present. So, that's going to be important to know how to do that. Some people prefer to use social media as a way to contact and engage with people so that they become familiar with your brand. And that's what it's all about. Social media is all about a means and a way. It's a tool that you can use in order to get your brand out there so that people can get to know, like, and trust you. And that's what people look at, because a lot of people don't trust people on social media. They don't trust them. Why they don't trust them? Because they don't know you. They don't know you, and you're the same way. If you put your hand on your heart and you say, I'm exactly the same way. I don't really trust anybody on social media because you don't know them. And because of the superstition and, the consciousness of not knowing that person, a lot of people are very reserved when they are on social media. So you will never ever see the real person. And I don't mean visually, I mean in the way that they are, their characters, their personalities, and so on. So because of that, and it's the same with consumers who want to buy, they are very suspicious. So you've got to stand as that authority in your space and make sure that your content is of good quality and it speaks directly to your ideal client. That will help to build brand loyalty, and it helps to build trust. And being on social media, it's all about trust. If people can buy from you and you give them a great level of service online, your communication is excellent, and it's at the peak level of where they want you to communicate with them, and you're showing up all the time, that's what builds brand loyalty. People want to be able to trust, but they don't trust because they've had so many bad experiences online, and that's why they don't trust. So, but when they come across a brand that they feel they resonate with, what people will do, they will go and check you out. They will go and, check out if you've got a website. They will go and check you out on LinkedIn. They will go and look at the content that you've posted. And if your content is good, they will spend time consuming your free content and getting to know you or your brand. So, and this is what you've got to think about when you're on social media. It's better for you to spend time in working on income producing activities than it is for you to spend time in consuming people's content. And as small business owners, you've got to ask yourself, when you're going on social media, what am I actually going on there to do? Are you going on there to better your business? Or are you going on there because, you want to find out what everybody else is doing? So, I would say going on there in order to be able to better your business would be far more productive than the other way, because you want to make sure that this is all about those clients that you're trying to reach and not really about what you're trying to consume. Because, I'll tell you now, there is enough on social media to keep you on the platforms for the entire day. You could get on Facebook or LinkedIn or any of the others, and you could literally spend the whole day there. And people do without realizing that time has gone by so quickly. So it's important to have a strategy when you're going on. And it's also important to think about what you're posting before you post, because when your potential ideal client is going to check you out, guess where they're going to go to? They're going to go to your profile page. If they go to your profile page and they don't see a picture of you, if they don't see something to do with your business, if they don't see that you come across as, that professional, or if they, get onto your profile page and see that you've only just started the page and there's nothing really on the page for them to see, what happens is they'll bounce off and they'll go to someone else's page. So you've got to make sure that your profile is set up and ready to welcome your potential ideal clients. Look at what you're posting, look at what you're putting up there. Have you got a great picture of yourself so people can resonate with what you look like? What does your banner at the top of your page says? What does it say? Does it talk about your business, or has it got something there that has got absolutely nothing to do with your business at all? So, you've got to be strategic in your approach and in the things that you're doing in order to survive on social media. We are now at the top of the hour. We're going to take a break. Don't shut your computers down. You can just pause and, I'll just come back in 10 minutes. So have a great break and I'll see you shortly. Hi, everyone. We're back. I hope you've been refreshed and you're ready for the second leg. So we'll take another break at the top of the next hour, and that will be our final break before we conclude this webinar. So let's talk about the target audience, because your target audience is very important to whether your business grows or not. If you oftentimes when you get to a place where you've started the business and then it seems like everything's dried up, it's all to do with marketing. And we often hear people say all the time, I've created a website online, but I'm not getting any clients coming through. I've got my social media pages, but we're not getting any clients coming through. I'm on social media X amount of times for the day, but I still don't have any clients coming through. It's all to do with marketing and your marketing message. And what do I mean by that? Well, every small business and every organization has a message. A message is what you say about your brand that will resonate with your potential ideal client. If you're into keep fit, then everything you talk about should be to do with that. If you're into nutrition, everything you talk about should be to do with that. If you're in photography and it's photography for pets, then everything you talk about should be to do with that. Whatever it is that you're in, you should make sure that all the content that you put out online will always speak to where your potential ideal clients want to get to. So let's just use an example of someone who is, say, in the keep fit niche. They're in the niche where they're helping people to either reduce their weight, feel more healthier, and have more energy and more time for themselves, or whatever it is that they're doing. So everything that you speak to should never be about how that person is struggling with their weight. You should never be talking about the struggle. You should always, all of the content that you put out there should always be talking to that ideal client about how they can get to where they need to get to, how they can get to lose. And I'm going to be specific again, 5 pounds in 2 weeks. Everything you put out, make sure it's specific, make sure it talks to where they where they want to get to. So not to the struggle. And, a lot of people, what I've just told you right there is gold. That piece right there is gold. And a lot of people speaks to the struggle rather than to where their potential ideal client wants to get to. And that's what I mean by it's the messaging. People who want to buy from you right now, who want your services, who wants the products that you're selling, they're out there and they are waiting for you right now. But you've got to ask yourself, have I got all the moving parts in place in order to make this happen? Do I understand who my ideal clients are online? Do I understand what messaging needs to be created in order to reach them? Do I understand what they want? Do I know what keeps them up at night? Do I know what kind of verbiage they use, the kind of conversations they have? Do I know what really frustrates them? Do I know what challenges they face? Do I know what breakthroughs they need? Do I know what obstacles they need to overcome? So you need to look at, do you really, really know your ideal client? Now, you might be thinking to yourself, well, Carol, hang on a minute. I've just started this thing and I'm still getting to grips with who my ideal clients are. But what I will say, if that's where you're at, you've kind of gone before the cart. You should really know who your ideal clients are before you actually start, not after you've started. So, I want to give you another story. I want to share another story with you, just to show you how clever marketing online can be. We're still talking about social media presence, and I want to just share this with you. I remember one day, it was last year, sometime last year, the beginning of last year somewhere, and I was sat in my conservatory at home. It was a Saturday and I was just chilling out, not doing very much on that particular day. Not really doing very much on that particular day. And I was on YouTube. I was on my mobile phone. I was on YouTube and I was just listening to some great music on YouTube. And this advert popped up. And I don't know if you guys spend any time on YouTube, but I'm on YouTube every single day. I'm on social media every day because I need to make sure that I stay current and that I understand exactly what the changes are that's happening on a day-to-day basis. Anyway, I was there and an ad came up and I tried to click this ad off and I couldn't get the ad off because I had to wait for that yellow line that goes along the adverts to get to number 1 and then 0, and then it would say skip the ads. So just as it was about to get to the end, the person that was on the advert said something that triggered my mind and what I was thinking about, because I'm very into kind of property and all of that kind of thing and buying property and all of that. And he said something around that. And I thought, oh, let me listen to this ad. And it gave you an opportunity to sign up to the next part, because that was just an ad, but they gave you the opportunity, if you wanted to learn more, you can sign up to this particular webinar. So I clicked the button and put my details in and I signed up to the webinar, and it was a great webinar. And after that webinar, there was another thing, because the webinar was about half a day long. It was a long webinar, it was a few hours. But I was so interested in what they were saying. And then they gave you an opportunity to do an upsell. So you had to pay £17 to sign up to something else. Now, this is all on YouTube I'm talking about. And I paid the £17 to sign up to that other thing. And that was amazing. And then they gave you another opportunity to sign up to another thing that was going to cost almost £1,500. So I want you to put in the chat and tell me, do you think that I actually signed up to that other thing that was almost £1,500? It was, a training course that they were offering, and it was in Maidenhead, and it was all to do with property and all investments and things like that. And, who signs up to something as spontaneous as that, out of the blue? I mean, who does that? Would you guys do that? Let me know in the chat if you think that I did or did I not. Which one do you think? So, right, Lee is saying, of course not. I can almost hear Lee saying, not only of course not, but why should you? Charlene says yes. Joe says no way, 1,500. Gloria says not a chance, and Gwyneth says no, and Charlene says invest in yourself, girl. Chris says yes, I think so. Why do you think so, Chris? I'm very intrigued to know why you think so. Jana says I have once, so possibly. Charlene says, or could take the free and see how it goes. Well, I did take all the frees. I took all the frees, and I absolutely did love the frees. But I mean, who has got £1,500 to spend spontaneously, on a course in Maidenhead for 3 days? I mean, who does that? So, I kind of thought about it and I thought about it and I thought, well, who actually does that? And then I thought, I do. So for those of you who said, yes, I did. I signed up to that particular course that was almost £1,500. Chris is saying the value portrayed in the 5 o'clock by investing 1,500 is true. Okay. Charlene says, you're like myself. Gwyneth says, was it worth it? Gwyneth, it was worth every single penny. It was worth every penny. When I got to Maidenhead, I met some of the most amazing people that I'm still friends with today. And not only that, it taught me another thing of what I could do to start a new business to do with property. And when I got there, when I actually got there, because I'm a very strong believer in investing in myself. You know, to date, I've had 6 business coaches to help me to get to where I am to today. And I'm a very strong believer in investing in oneself. When I got to Maidenhead, they not that money to get me there for that course. We then had to book a hotel. We had to pay for meals. I had to, you know, pay for traveling to get down there. I drove and so on. So everything all kind of totted up. But when I got there, there was over 100 other people who had seen that advert that Saturday who did exactly the same thing. So you do the maths. You do the maths. This was like almost £1,500 and there was just over 100 people there. And on that day, they had another upsell. They had 2 other courses. One was for 11,000 and one was for 25, and people flocked to buy them. People bought them. So do the maths on 100 people at 1,500, and then about another 10, 11 bought the courses at 11,000, and there was another 20 who bought the courses at 25,000. And then there was one guy who paid 30,000 because what he was going to get was a complete done for you, and you know, and a kind of a hand-holding experience where they were literally going to do it for him, so that he got his first X amount of properties in a short space of time. They were going to do it for him. So, you know, the point that I'm trying to make, there's a reason why I've told you this story, and I don't want you to miss the reason. Here's the reason. Your potential ideal clients are out there right now, ready to buy your products and your services. Right now, as I speak, they're out there right now. Did I know that I was going to do that? No. Have I got any sense? I've got a lot of sense. Although, you know, some people thought, gosh, you know, I wouldn't have done that just spontaneously. The messaging was right. The person that particular advert was trying to reach was right. The way that person came across in the advert spoke directly to what I wanted to hear. His messaging was on point. Now, this was an ad, remember. I didn't know anything about this company. I'd never seen this guy before that was on the ad, never heard of him, but yet I was prepared to part with nearly £1,500. Just let that sink in for a moment, because what I'm trying to show you is this could potentially happen for you in your business with your ideal clients. When you know your ideal clients, when you know what will trigger them to want to listen and to want to engage with your content, because this was someone else's content that I was watching. I'm an experienced business person. And, you know, I've got a lot of, you know, skills and knowledge in business. Why would I want to go and just spend £1,500 spontaneously, just like that? It's because he spoke directly to where I was at right there and then. That messaging spoke directly to the journey that I was already on to do with property. And that's why I responded in the way that I did. He spoke to where I wanted to get to. Do you follow what I'm trying to say? So it's the messaging, it's the things that you say about what you have to sell. So you've got to get to a point on social media where you're selling without selling. You're not selling, you're serving, you're adding value. That's what that guy did in the advert. He was adding tons of value. And it was like, I just want more and more and more. I couldn't get enough. And that's why I bought into it. Now, it was a great training, great, absolutely brilliant. They had some of the best in the world. Showing us how to, do what they were training us to do. It was amazing. And I thought to myself, I am so glad that I did this. So, I shared that story because I want to motivate you and I want to encourage you to believe that your ideal clients are out there, regardless of what you have to sell. There is room for another you. There is room for Charlene. There's room for George. There's room for Gwyneth. There's room for Chris. There's room for Gloria. There's room for Jan. There's room for each one of you out there. You've just got to get yourself positioned. You've got to believe that you're in this for the long haul. You can get your messaging right. You can get to understand who your ideal clients are. You can get to understand what it is that they want. The way to get to know your ideal clients, get into groups with where they are. Get into groups. There's lots of Facebook groups. Get into groups with your industry specific people. Look at the kind of things that they are actually saying. People, when they have problems, when they have a pain point, they like to talk about it. They like to share it. So when you see it, and you can see that they're beginning to share and they're talking about what their struggles are and things like that, you will know whether or not what you have got to sell is going to help that particular person. But you never throw it at them. You don't sell to them. What you do is you serve them with the value first. Think about it. When someone comes into a shop and that person, the person around the till, is very nice to you, they're having a lovely conversation with you, and you feel quite comfortable and you think, what a lovely person, I'm going to come back to this shop, because they've added the value to you first before they've taken your money. You see what I'm trying to say? And this is what you've got to do. And this is where a lot of people get it wrong when they're on social media. That's why some people do very well and some people don't do so well. So it doesn't take a long time to build your audience. You've just got to make sure that you are positioned well and you have the right kind of information and content and messaging that you're putting in front of them. So I hope that's helped somebody. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about the different types of platforms. As you can see, there are many, and this is not even the completed list. There's a lot more different platforms that are out there, but there are quite a few. Some are more popular than others, and there's probably even some that you've never really heard a lot about. But you've got to get on the platforms where your particular ideal clients are. And even if you don't like the platform, here's something that I want to share with you. It's better for you to move out of your own way so that your clients can see your brand. Your business is not about you. Your business is about the people that you are trying to serve. Oftentimes I talk to people and, they'll get really, really, really personal with their business. Joe, when you get the slides, you'll be able to go through this again. I don't know if you're looking at it on your mobile phone. If you are, it's going to come up tiny. If you're on a laptop or a desktop, it's going to come up much bigger. So I do apologize if you can't see it. But when you get the slides, Joe, you can go over it again. But it's really important, as I said, that, you know exactly, where you're going in your business and who you're trying to serve. You need to know where these people are. If they're on Facebook and you don't like Facebook, just push to one side the fact that you don't like Facebook, but still get your business on there, because your aim and your one desire is to reach that ideal client. And if that's where they are, that's where you've got to go. So focus, I would say focus on no more than about 2 platforms. Don't have lots of platforms that you're trying to manage, because remember, as a small business owner, you're already juggling lots of hats. So you don't want to have a situation where you're also trying to juggle social media. If you can't manage it, outsource it, get a VA, get a virtual assistant to help you to be able to manage your social media if you know that you can potentially do well on there. So there's different types of platforms, and you'll see a lot of different types today. It depends on how you feel about the platforms that you're particularly using. LinkedIn has a very different feel to Facebook. LinkedIn, I always say, is a bit like a Mercedes, and Facebook, I say, is like a Skoda. So on Facebook, you can post the dog's dinner and people will laugh at it. On LinkedIn, people are a little bit more formal, and that's because people know exactly why they are on the platform. And what you've got to appreciate as well, people that are on these platforms, they're not necessarily always active. Sometimes people just have a profile there and then they don't really visit it until maybe 3 or 6 months later. So you've just got to make sure that whatever you're posting on a regular basis. Charlene says, how do I get a VA? That's a really good question, Charlene. You can get a VA by joining an entrepreneurial group where there are lots of different types of business owners, and you can put a post in one of these entrepreneurial groups and ask, does anyone here offer VA services? I'm based in the UK. And you might get someone who's foreign. It could be someone from the Philippines or the US or wherever, and they can offer services to you. It doesn't really matter which part of the world they're in, as long as it can work for you, because there's such thing as Zoom, and a lot of businesses deal with businesses through Zoom and still make quite a lot of money doing it that way. So it doesn't really matter. So that's how you can get your VA. Get into a group, entrepreneurial group, and ask the question. And just make sure that you do your due diligence on the VA. You want to make sure that that VA can do exactly the kind of things that you're hiring them to do. You agree a price, you agree a duration that you want them to work with you for. And, they just have to make sure that they come up with the goods for you as to what you've discussed and what they said that they could do for you. Okay. So that's how you get a VA. But one of the things that I also want to say as well is a lot of people tend to ask me, do I really need to have a website? And a website is part of having a social media presence. Your website is your first part of your marketing funnel. So short answer is, do I need a website? Yes, I would say you need a website. Can you start your business without a website? Yes, you can. If your business is offering services or products, it's a good idea to have a website to begin with if you're offering products. If you're an e-com store, you need a site, don't you? You can actually use Facebook, but I don't know if anybody remembers when Facebook crashed a couple of years ago. When Facebook crashed a couple of years ago, Facebook, not only Facebook went down, but Instagram went down, WhatsApp went down, Facebook Messenger went down, because Facebook owns all of these platforms. and they all went down. So everybody who didn't have a website that had their businesses 100% on these platforms, for 2 days, they could do no business and they lost a lot of money. So is it a good idea to rely socially on social media, and not have your own, what I call your own home, which is your website on the internet? I don't think it's a good idea. I think it's a better idea to make sure that you have a way of how you can communicate with your potential ideal clients. So it's always good to have a home, that you can call your own. And if anything happens, no one can take your website away from you. But if Mark Zuckerberg or one of the others, or Elon Musk or one of the others, decided tomorrow that they're going to shut the whole platform down and they no longer want to have anything to do with Facebook and they want to end these social media platform business, what do you think is going to happen? So, and this is what I'm trying to say. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. So you can't assume social media is always going to be there. I believe that it will always be there, but we can't really assume it, because remember, this is a business for these other people. And if they decide tomorrow they want to shut shop, what can you do? Although I do believe it will be there for the long haul. So let's talk a little bit about live streaming, because, we've established that a lot of the streaming that does go on, thank you, George, a lot of the streaming that does go on is mainly on YouTube. YouTube is the biggest streaming platform in the world. Now, remember what I said, YouTube has got over 2.6 billion people and probably more than that now. Facebook has got over 2.8 billion people. So YouTube's not far behind Facebook, although Facebook started in 2006, and I think Facebook started in 2004, and I think YouTube started in 2006, if I remember right. So, not many years apart, but look how much YouTube has grown in terms of their streaming. They do a lot. They stream YouTube. I don't even know what the figures are for how much streaming goes on YouTube daily. The other day I was looking at some stats. I should have written them down actually. But a lot of streaming goes on. So it's specifically a streaming platform, whereas Facebook isn't. Although a lot of streaming goes on Facebook because people do live streams all the time. So Facebook has got a lot of streaming going on. But remember, with Facebook, you can also post content as well. And you can also post videos that aren't live streams. So whereas with YouTube, you can post live streams, and you can do live streams, and you can post pre-recorded videos. It's just a video-based platform. Facebook isn't. So this is why YouTube is doing so much better than Facebook, and Facebook doesn't like it. So Facebook is one of YouTube's competitors in terms of live streaming, and Facebook wants to believe that they are the platform for streaming and they're the best in the world for streaming. That's what they want to believe. But YouTube pips them to the post all the time. And another thing to remember is that Google actually owns YouTube. So, and remember, Google is the biggest search engine in the world. So Google knows exactly what to do to get YouTube positioned for where they need to be. So, but YouTube is great for streaming. Facebook is great for streaming. I'll share another story with you. Just let me just quickly take a drink. Because your business might lend itself to regular streaming. And if it does, I think you should really buckle up and really get your self out there and doing live streams. It's something that I did in my coaching business, and it was a way of attracting my potential ideal clients. I used to be very reserved and very shy, I think is the right word, about putting myself out there online. I used to have this preconceived thought that the whole world is going to be looking at me and laughing at the way I speak and the way I say things, and everyone's just going to be looking at me. And these thoughts were just filling my head all the time. And it wasn't until one of my coaches said to me, she said to me and a few people that was in the group that I was in, that she wanted us to go and do a live stream for 30 days. Every single day we had to have something to talk about. And it didn't matter what it was, but she wanted us to do a live stream for 30 days. And we didn't fully understand why. There was a lot of fear around that, because people were thinking, oh my gosh, I can't, no way can I put myself out there. I don't like the way I talk. I don't like the way I look. And lots of people come up with so many different excuses. And I remember what she was really doing, because when you live stream, you trigger the algorithm. You get the algorithm knowing that you're very active, and then once the algorithm gets triggered on activity, it starts to do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. So and what do I mean by that? Well, when I was out there streaming, I was doing these live streams. What I noticed that a lot of my ideal clients were becoming attracted to what I was talking about. And I started to build up a following through that. And one of the ways that I used to practice, I used to use my mobile phone, and I would, because I've got the Facebook app on my phone, so I would create a page, a Facebook page, and I would call it something really silly that no one could ever in a million years find. And I would live stream on that page. That page only had one person, and that was me. And I would live stream on this page. And then I would go back to the page and I would click on the live stream to see how I would come across if I was to do this on my profile page. And it was something that I did over and over and over again. I also used to do pre-recorded videos, and then I used to look back on the videos to see how I was coming across. And, what that did for me, I'll tell you something. When I became a coach, because of that experience, when I became a coach, I was so super confident at doing live streams to attract my ideal clients. I would offer value added videos and training videos, which was giving them, tips and hacks and all sorts of value that would then get them to know that I'm the expert in my field, and, that they could hire me. And did it work? Yeah, it did work. It worked. And I used to work with a lot of American teachers, a lot of Americans I used to work with. So does live streaming work for your business? Absolutely. And because the platforms love live streaming, what happens is they send more people to your live streams more than they do if you post a static post. All the platforms love videos. So it's a great way of getting your content out there. Live streaming is a form of content that you can put out on social media in order to be able to reach your ideal client. So it's worth doing in whatever niche you are in. If you are in the creative industry niche where you're making things, you're showing people how to do things, it's even better to live stream. So let me just go to the chat. Jan is saying, are there any specialist courses on streaming? You could go to Udemy, Jan. I don't know. I've never created a course on streaming, but maybe it's something that I probably could do in a webinar. I don't know. I could probably create something on a webinar to do about streaming. But that's a good question, Jan. So Lee's saying, not comfortable in front of the camera. That's why I'm behind it. And that's fine, Lee. Some people are not comfortable in front of the camera, I know I've seen on Facebook, there's a particular lady on Facebook. She shows people how to create great meals on a budget. And, you know, you don't have to spend very much to create some fantastic tasty dishes that she creates. She doesn't show her face either. She only has her hands videoed, and she's got over 1 million followers just from showing people these videos. They're pre-recorded videos that she uploads, and she's got over 1 million followers. And Facebook pays you when you've got an X amount of thousands of people following you. They pay you for each video that gets watched. So George is saying, aha, everyone seemed to have these thoughts more or less. What thoughts are those, George? Joe says, by live streaming, were you broadcasting in real time? Yes, I was. I was broadcasting in real time. And people were joining the live and saying, hi, hello, and so on. So it kind of encouraged me to keep going. So what do you mean by live streaming? I've just explained that, Joe. My problem is not understanding the technology, how to do this. On Facebook, there is a little red camera that you can press. When you go on your profile page, you can press that camera and you are live. So the moment you press that camera, you've got to be ready to talk, because then you're live. And if you've got a Facebook business page, you can do exactly the same. Oh, I see, by being shy online. Okay. So Jan says, please let me know if you are going to do a webinar on streaming. Well, I'll be thinking about it now it's been mentioned, Jan, because, you know, it's better for us to create webinars that people really want, rather than webinars that people don't want. So if enough people want this kind of thing, it's something that I can put forward on streaming, and, you know, the different types of things that you need to look out for and what you can do. So 3 people are already saying yes. So let's see, watch the space. I've already created one on, it's called e-commerce for beginners. That one's going to be marketed soon. So this one is something that I can think about. I can kind of think about what I'd want to say in regards to live streaming. There's an awful lot to say though. So, okay, well, that's something that I can think about for you guys. So think about live streaming for your business, because if you're not shy, remember, I was very shy. I was very shy. If I hadn't been live streaming for the times that I was live streaming, it would be difficult for me to sit here in front of you. The only reason why I've got the camera off today, it's not because I'm shy of showing my face, because I've been doing it, you know, I've been doing these webinars for quite a long time now. But I just want you to focus mainly on the slides than anything else. So here's a video that went viral. And this particular video had over 850 million views. It was of a parent, it was a dad who put this video of his 2 sons up on YouTube, and it's called Charlie Bit My Finger. And these guys are now teenagers, so this was quite a long time ago. But when this father actually put the video up, he had no idea it was going to go viral. You know, they turned over £500,000 in revenue just because of this one video. They were invited, they're an American family, so they were invited to the Ellen show, to Oprah, you name it. They were on every show across the US just because of this one video. So, you know, again, you never know what's going to happen when you put your videos up online. So Jan says 2 million were from me. She loved it. So you're familiar with this particular video, Jan? It's so funny because today the younger one is much taller than the older one. And they've done like a rehash of this video. You know, it's like take 2, now we're older. But it's just so funny. But they did very, very well. And, you know, YouTube obviously rewarded them exponentially, because they got over £500,000 in revenue just because of this video. And on top of all the other bits and pieces that they got from attending all these different shows, you know, the Oprah show and the Ellen show and all of these. So, you know, there's lots of different types of social media platforms that you can put your content out there on. You know, it's important to know what your keywords are going to be. You can actually go to a website called keywordtracker.com, and you can click on any industry specific kind of keywords that is popular. That particular website is updated regularly, so you can have a look at the different types of keywords that are popular, that is being used within the industry that you are in. So, you know, but keywords are important. They're important because there's something called SEO, which stands for search engine optimization. When we think about Google measures activity, as I said earlier on. And when people put the right keywords, when people put keywords into Google and they're searching for something, Google shares that with all the social media platforms. So if a lot of people, let's just say you're looking for, you know, I don't know, a nutritionist, and a lot of people put the word in nutritionist, Google's going to share that with the social media platforms. So they will know what the trending words are, what's popular, what people are moving. It's all to do with the algorithm. The algorithm's working in the background all the time without you even realizing it. And what is happening is these people the algorithm is doing the heavy lifting for you. And that's why I said you need to get active on social media without being on social media every single day. You can pre-schedule your content to go out. So here's how to do it. Think about your ideal client. What is your ideal client's pain point? What are they frustrated with? What do they really want from you right now? Think about that. So you need to know who your ideal clients are. And that's what I'd said in the very beginning. You need to know what their pain points are. That's the second thing. And then you need to know how you're going to help them to solve the problem that they have, to get over the pain point. When I use the word problem, I'm talking about the issue. I'm not talking about their personal problems. I'm talking, and it could be a personal problem, but that's the focus is, what is it that's frustrating them, why they need your services right now? Well, what's the frustration? So let me give you one of mine, because I remember I was doing one of these webinars and someone sold jewelry. One of the things that I have a real problem with is finding great fashion jewelry online. I can't find any in the high street shops. When I go to, you know, any of the indoor shopping centers, I can't find great fashion jewelry. So that is a pain point to me. I can't find the kind of jewelry and the colors that I want in order to go with the outfits that I've got. That is a pain point. So if there is somebody that sells great jewelry, great colors, wide variety, then maybe that person, I would be an ideal client for that person, because that person, because of what they're selling, would help me to solve my problem. Do you follow what I'm trying to say? So that's why I say you need to look at what the pain point is, and then look at what it is that you have to sell. What you have to sell, is it going to benefit and help them to get over the pain point? So if you're selling great jewelry and I come to you, I would hope that I would have a choice of colors and styles and types that I could purchase from you. That would solve my problem. So those are the three things that you need to look at: who your ideal clients are, what their pain points are, and what you have to sell. Is it going to help them to get rid of that problem? If you're selling educational services, what kind of educational services are you selling? Are you selling training? And who are you selling it to? Are you selling it to head teachers? Are you selling it to leaders? Are you selling it to training organizations? So be specific. Don't try to make what you're trying to sell too broad, because if it's broad, you're not going to hit the target. The narrower it is the more likely you will hit the target. But if it's broad, if you say to me, well, everybody's my client and I sell to everybody, then you're going to have a problem in getting that your messaging in front of that person and for that person to know you're speaking to them. But when it's narrowed down, they can hear you loud and clear. So let me use another example. And I'll use an example in regards to dentistry. Let's just say that you go to the dentist, because you have dentists who are general dentists. They do everything, but they're not a master of anything. They just offer a general service, a bit like a GP, but they're not master of anything. Now, let's just say your problem is you've got a problem where you need to hire someone like an orthodontist, someone that gives you those braces that pulls your teeth back and makes your teeth look nice and straight. If you saw a lot of content that was being marketed, and it was all about how to have great straight teeth and how to make your teeth nice and even, and you know, how to have the profile that you want from side view and all of this, and you knew that you had a problem in regards to that, and you knew that you needed braces, that kind of content would speak to you, because you'd be thinking, yeah, I could do with braces because I need to get my teeth nice and straight. You know, in the same as if you needed your teeth whitening and you saw a lot of content around teeth whitening, you know, you'd be thinking to yourself, yeah, I'm definitely interested in that, because the content is speaking to you. Do you see what I'm trying to say? So and that's why I say, and that's the kind of content you need to have that speaks to your ideal client. It shouldn't be general, it should be specific, because when it's specific, it speaks to the person and the person will hear. And that person, when they're at the right buying place, the right buying journey, they will respond in the same way that I responded to that ad on YouTube, and spontaneously, without even giving it a second thought, spent almost £1,500. So Charlene is saying, do you think we need a website for cakes? 100% yes. 100%. I think you need a website if you're selling cakes. 100%. That's not even a no-brainer for me to think about that, because people buy with their eyes, Charlene. People buy with what they see, and you're in the creative industry. You're selling something that people need to look at. And when you showcase what you can do, you're speaking to the heart of that person. Even if you have social media, 100%, even if you have social media, I still think you need a website, because remember what I said about social media. If social media crashed, what are you going to do? Facebook crashed a couple of years ago, and they were down for 48 hours, and people lost millions and millions and millions of pounds. And Facebook couldn't get their site back up until after 2 days. It was 2 days it was down for. So I don't even know how many billions of pounds was lost on that platform. You do need for cakes, anything that you need to look at that people buy with their eyes, 100%, I would say. We do webinars that shows you how to create a Wix website. We've got those webinars. But another thing, and I'll go back to what I said in the very beginning. If you don't know how to do something that you need to do in your business, outsource it. So we're going to take a break right now. Go to our wenta.co.uk website, have a look at the tab that says savings, and you will see that we've got 3 bundles there: Feel Good, Feel Free, Feel Good, and Feel Great bundle. Go and have a look. And you will see in the Feel Good and the Feel Great bundle that there are website creators that we have partnered with that you can sign up to, and you get a discount for going through Wenta. So we're going to take a break now. So, and don't forget to go to our Net Zero. We're offering you bronze for free. Sign up for that. It's completely free right now. Don't know how long it'll be free for, but sign up for the bronze. And if you want to do that, you can do it now. We're going to take a break. So I'll see you at 11 minutes past 4. Welcome back, everyone. Charlene, let me tell you where the Feel Good Bundle is. You go to wenta.co.uk, then you go to savings. If you look on the menu bar, you'll see the point that says savings. When you click on savings, scroll down and you will see feel free, feel good, and feel great. There's 3 bundles. There's 3 sections, 3 icons with 3 different wording on it. So you'll see it right there. It's on the wenta.co.uk website. Okay, let's continue to move forward. So LinkedIn. A lot of people ask, do I need to be on LinkedIn? Not necessarily. It depends on whether or not your clients are there. If your clients are there, then I would strongly suggest that you need to be on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a gold mine. And I say that unapologetically because LinkedIn will help you to find really, really good quality clients. And LinkedIn is an excellent tool used for headhunting and recruiting staff. So if you have got a business that lends itself to wanting to get good quality staff that you're going to pay really well, LinkedIn is definitely the place that you go. You know, I've got a friend who's an international recruiter, and she works for a huge company that's got so many offices right across the world, and all of their staff has been recruited from LinkedIn. So, you know, you can have the free or the paid version of LinkedIn. Not too long ago, I was delivering a webinar, just like how I'm doing now. And one of one of the ladies that was on the webinar told me that she's got 75,000 people that follows her on LinkedIn, and it only took her 1.5 years to build up a following of 75,000 people. Now, if you're able to recruit 75,000 people in 1.5 years, that tells me you've got a great offer. Your messaging is on point, you're talking to the right people, and you've also got a great price point for them as well. That's what that tells me. And she told me that she does actually monetize them, and they're very active, which is fantastic. So LinkedIn has got some great quality clients if your business lends itself to being on LinkedIn. If you're in the consultancy, coaching, educational, business-like kind of space, you know, that kind of space where you're offering services, LinkedIn is definitely the place to be. So, you know, if you're into photography, you'll find a lot of photographers over on LinkedIn as well. But you'll find, I would say, a lot of them, most of them, I would say, between Instagram and Facebook. And TikTok is great for photography as well. So, you know, you've just got to decide if you're selling products, then Instagram is great for selling products. If you're, you know, if you want to showcase something creative that you make, then somewhere like YouTube is perfect for that, because people like to know how to. You know, people love to know the how-tos. So, but when you go to YouTube, you will see a lot of different kind of things that people have over there. And honestly, some of them that people are talking about, you would never ever believe for one moment that people are actually making money from talking about those particular things. You know, people talk about what they do, their children, their lives, you know, they talk about anything. And one of the reasons over on YouTube why people tend to say to you, you know, click the notification bell and subscribe is because they know the more watch hours they get is the more they're going to get paid for. With LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is more of a professional platform, you will find a lot of businesses over there that are looking on the hunt for people like yourself to do business with. You know, there's thousands and thousands of them, millions of them that are over there. So LinkedIn is a great place. Like I say, it's a gold mine, for you to do business with if your services lends itself to getting your ideal clients over there. So, 93% of recruiters in the UK uses LinkedIn. They use LinkedIn to search out candidates. The moment someone wants to do business with you, the first place they're going to go and try and get to know a bit about you is your LinkedIn page. So you can use the site. If you want to do business with a particular business, you can use LinkedIn to be able to find out what these people are like before you decide to do business with them. What companies are like. If you're going for a job, you can find out who's going to be carrying out the interview or who the managing directors are, and they're all on LinkedIn. So, and employers use LinkedIn to find out about the employee before they actually employ them. So, LinkedIn's also got a great job board. You can gain a lot of social proof from LinkedIn. You can ask people to endorse you in your particular field on LinkedIn. It's a great way, and you can actually create a URL which you can put on any of your social media sites, and that URL will take someone straight to your LinkedIn information. So, LinkedIn is a great way of showcasing what your professionalism is and what you do. And if you've got clients that are on LinkedIn, then you definitely need to be there. The groups on LinkedIn are very, very different to the groups that are on Facebook. On LinkedIn, the groups are very formal. People talk in a very kind of formal kind of way. On Facebook, it's very different. It's a lot low-keyed, whereas on LinkedIn, it's a lot more, professional in the things that they talk about. So, you've just got to decide, are my ideal clients here? But like I say, it's an absolute goldmine, and you'll get a better quality of clients. So you can have a business page or a personal page. You'll always find that you've got more people on your personal page than you have got on your business page, because you will only get your industry specific type of people on your business page, whereas on your personal page, you're going to get quite a lot of your potential clients. So, you've got to decide, to attract more connections on your personal page, but you can always invite them to go across to your business page so they can get to know you personally through the things that you post. And then if you set up a group or a business page, then you can invite them to go over. So, I spoke about the URL. It's something that a lot of people use. I remember once I hired a solicitor to do something, and I remember he gave me his LinkedIn URL. And when I clicked on it, there was a whole plethora of stuff about this particular solicitor. It was amazing how he laid it all out on LinkedIn. He even had all the articles that he had written. He had lots of other people that had endorsed him. He had a great, way of how he laid out what he had done from when he left university all the way through. It was amazing. And he had lots of pictures and videos of speaking gigs that he had done as well. So you can have a URL that leads people to see literally everything about what you've done. So it's a great way to showcase who you are. And that URL can be your bit of real estate as well. So, with LinkedIn, you can join groups. As I said, the groups are a lot more formal. It doesn't have the same feel as if you're in a Facebook group. Twitter and YouTube don't do groups, but LinkedIn and Facebook does. So, but your groups would be specifically targeted at whatever it is that you do and who you're trying to attract. So groups over on LinkedIn grow a lot slower than groups over on Facebook. So just think about that. And you have the opportunity to share content. Now, here's a great way of how you can create content on LinkedIn, because on LinkedIn, remember, you've got a lot of professionals and professionals of all industries, and people love to read. The people who are on LinkedIn, they like to read, and they like to have good, healthy, strong debates. So if you are a writer, if you are into writing a lot of information, you've got a lot to discuss. Obviously, you'll know your ideal client, so you'll know what triggers them to spark discussions. Then the article that they have over there, the article templates, you could write things and put it out there as part of your content. Another thing that you can do, because I can't remember who it was that is targeting head teachers and leaders over on LinkedIn, but another thing that you could do over on LinkedIn is you could do what we call case studies. So you could select a handful of your ideal clients. You could work with them either on a reduced fee or a no fee basis, just to get the testimonials from them. And then you could bring them back on LinkedIn. You could put them on a Zoom and Zoom straight into LinkedIn, or you could do a pre-recorded Zoom and upload it to LinkedIn for other people to see what that case study is. So yes, it was you, Gwyneth, that's it. So you could do that, Gwyneth, and you could get them talking about whatever it is that you did to work with them to help them to get the result that they wanted. So Gwyneth, remind me, what kind of services are you offering to these head teachers? What would you be offering? So Joe says, how did the solicitor have that content on his profile? I'm very active with discussion, but don't know how to create content post or post my own content. He put it all into, he's got it all on, it's all on LinkedIn, and he created a URL, because LinkedIn allows you to put up, it allows you in a descending order to say what you've actually been doing over the years. You can start with what you're doing presently, and you descend right down to what you've been doing before. He had all of that. LinkedIn allows you to upload videos. It allows you to upload posts. It allows you to upload articles. And what he had looked like a magazine. It was amazing. Very, very, very attractive. And I hired him. I was sold just from the way he looked and from the information that I read. I was sold straight away. So you can position yourself really well. And then LinkedIn allows you to create a URL. You normally do that on your profile page. LinkedIn, you can go into their help search, their help bar, and ask them how to create a URL, or you can even do a Google search on it, and it will show you how to do it. And that's what he did. So I was sent his URL for his LinkedIn. When I opened it, I felt like I was reading a magazine. It was amazing. So yes, leadership development. Well, your ideal client, Gwyneth, is all over on LinkedIn. That's where they are. And that's where all your leaders are. So you can create a lot of things, a lot of content around leadership and how to become a better leader, how to communicate with your staff, things like that, things that leaders normally struggle with. Don't assume just because they're a leader that they've got it all together. There's a lot of leaders that haven't got it all together, and they're having a lot of emotional issues that surrounds what they have to do. So, it's speaking to the upsell where they want to get to as a leader. There's also a lot of female leaders that feels how shall I say, they don't feel like they are looked at favorably because they are in a man's world, so to speak. So, you know, it depends on what you want to target and what kind of leader you want to target. Also look at the John Maxwell stuff that he's done, Gwyneth. I don't know if you've looked at that, but John Maxwell's done quite a lot on leadership as well. So you can have a look at that as well. So here's the articles that I'm telling you about. You know, there's a lot that you can write about, and you can get the link for this and you can put it in a post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has got an etiquette where you don't put the links in your post, but you put the links in where people do their chatting. So in the chat area is where you put the link and you direct people to the post from that area. It's an etiquette that they have over there. So LinkedIn, you're also able to measure the key performance indicators. So LinkedIn does actually show you how well your posts are doing. Like I said earlier on in the beginning of my introduction, one of the things that algorithms love, they love videos because people like to watch things. People's attention span is very short. So when you make a video on LinkedIn, people have got a tad more patience, and they'll kind of listen to a podcast, they'll listen to some form of training, they'll listen to something that pricks their interest on a video. So, you know, and also on an article as well. If you write about something that's very important, you know, the other day I was talking to someone who deals with domestic abuse and how it affects people mentally. You know, writing about something like that on LinkedIn, it would blow up the chat. It would, lots of people would have a lot to say about it. So, you know, and when people have a lot to say about things, that's when whatever it is that you're talking about trends. And on LinkedIn, you've always got to use your hashtags. You've got to hashtag whatever it is that you are or who you're trying to attract. You know, if you're trying to attract educators or teachers, you know, you're going to hashtag things that they resonate with. So you've got to know your ideal client. And I think I've said that so many times today. And if ever you take anything away with you from this webinar, it's get to know your ideal clients. And when you get to know them, you'll know exactly what kind of content you can put out there. Because so many times people say to me, I don't know what to post. And do I have to post every day? And how will I know what I have to post? Well, if you don't know what to post, that tells me that you don't know your ideal client. But if you know your ideal client, you post about the things that has an impact on them. You post about where they want to get to. So if you're targeting leadership, people in leadership, you're going to post about how they can get to the next level of their leadership careers, how they can communicate to get to a certain place in their career. Because like I say, leaders have got a lot of weaknesses. You can post about how to have effective communication, communicating with your employees as a leader, how to communicate with your senior management team and not have an ego about it as a leader. You're posting about where they want to get to. That's what you do. So you should never run out of content if you know your ideal client. You know, so, and that's basically what I'm trying to say. So now we are on part 2, and this is what we're going to now be covering in part 2. So we're going to look at generating attention with Twitter and Facebook. Yes, Gwyneth, that's exactly what you need to do. And if you would like to book an appointment with me for me to do a deep dive into your business, I'd be very happy to do that. So you can reach out to the business advisory team at info@wenta.co.uk. And as we move towards the ending of this webinar, the details will be on the slides, so I won't be putting it in the chat. So Joe saying, will you be covering Instagram? I believe so. Gwyneth says, yes, please. Yeah, do, reach out and book an appointment, and let's do a deep dive into your business. So this is what, the interface of Twitter looks like. Twitter's got a new owner now, Elon Musk, and the kind of things that you could post on Twitter is still the same, but he's allowing a lot more of what we call freedom of speech. He wants a lot of people now to have this opportunity to say whatever they want to say, and it's almost like the formality and the barriers that were always up with Twitter has now come right down. So I don't know, is there anybody here that tweets? There are so many politicians. Right, okay, so I didn't know that he's quit. Oh, I had no idea that he's quit. That was very short-lived then, Lee. So, but, there's so much more. And I learned not too long ago, it was somewhere last year, that there is a very, very different side to Twitter that I had absolutely no idea existed. I always thought Twitter was similar to LinkedIn, and it was very, very formal. But I learned that there was another side to Twitter that was the opposite of formal. And I know, and the reason why I'm sharing this is because one of my clients had got 15,000 followers on Twitter. And the line of his business, what he was doing in his business at the time, was not something that I would have expected to have seen on Twitter. So there is another side to Twitter that you have probably not seen, but I was open to it, through this particular person. Very interesting, Chris. That was very, very short-lived. I wonder why. Must be a very good reason why. Oopsie daisy. So here's just a little bit of information about Twitter. There's a lot of people that don't use Twitter, but there also is a lot of people that uses Twitter. Whenever I do these webinars, people often say they don't really use Twitter, but a lot of people do use Twitter, and a lot of people like to tweet. I've got a client or a couple of clients that are doing very, very well on Twitter. And you can build a really good following on Twitter if you have something interesting to talk about, because the people on Twitter like to talk in the same way as the people on LinkedIn likes to talk. Whereas the people on Facebook and the people on Instagram, they like to watch videos. Very different approach and very different kind of feel for the platform. But if you're the kind of person who's very opinionated, you've got a lot to say, you like to debate and argue, then Twitter is definitely the place for you, and to get your point of view heard. And with Twitter as well, you've got to use the hashtags again, because you've got to use the hashtags according to what people are interested in. There are a lot of people in education on Twitter, as well as a lot of politicians. There's people of all walks of life. It's not restricted to one particular profession. There's people of all walks of life, and Twitter is big, big business. Some people have got like 7-figure businesses from using Twitter. So, you've got to decide if Twitter can be blended into what you're doing, and is it the right kind of platform for you? So let's continue to move forward. So if you want to know a little bit more about Facebook, we do have a Facebook webinar that you can actually tap into, but let's just talk a little bit about, why people use Facebook. So people basically use Facebook because Facebook is what I call very friendly. A lot of people don't like it. There's a lot of things on the platform that people don't like. And people are not into that. And there's lots of things I don't like. But when I use Facebook, I always have to have a strategy. I don't go on to Facebook with the intention to consume a lot of people's content. That's not what I do. I follow a couple of influencers on Facebook, and I like to also read a lot of the new information that Facebook has brought out. I like to understand how the platform works. The algorithm has moved and has changed so many times. It's now having a great impact on how people can use Facebook, because the algorithm measures activity. And when there is a lot of activity coming from one particular person, on Facebook, Facebook will continue to do the heavy lifting for you. You can be in a group of 2,000 people and the admin of that group posts something and you don't get to see it. And you're wondering, why was I not able to see that? Well, if the algorithm has not picked up that you're active, it will not show you the content that other people are posting. That's why I say you need to be active without being active, meaning you can schedule your posts to go out every day. So you don't physically send them out every day. You schedule them. Some people schedule their posts for a month, 2 months, or even a quarter. So you just sit down one day and decide, right, this is what I'm going to talk about for the next month. And I'm going to schedule the posts to go out each day, and then it'll make it look like you've been very active online. And then in between that, what you do, you go in and then you go into your industry specific groups or where your potential ideal clients are, and you make comments, you like, and you share. That is how you do it. It's as simple as that. So this is what the interface of Facebook looks like when you're creating a business page. You decide, which one of these is going to be right for you. Are you a local business? Are you going in as with the intent to build a company? Are you going to brand yourself or a product? You've got to decide. If you're a charity, then you're going to go for cause or community. So each one of these will lead you to decide which one you want to click on, depending on what you're trying to do with your business. So these are some of the things that you should do on the platform. Just make sure that whenever you fill in, if you've not already got your Facebook profile page and you're going to set one up for the first time, anything that you put into Facebook, make sure it's what you want to be there, because whatever you put there, even if you delete it, it's not fully deleted. Honestly, it's not, because it'll just keep popping back up all the time. So you've got to make sure that you only put on Facebook what you want Facebook to know, because I've seen people, they put everything on there. I've seen people put their infant school on, their comprehensive school, all their universities, their mobile numbers, everything, their whole life is on there, their marital status, their date of birth. And to be honest, you don't need to do that. I don't think people need to know all of that, but it's entirely up to you what you put on. But I personally wouldn't do that, because if you want to delete that, you can't then get that off. So think about putting what you want to put on. Make sure that all of your links that you have are clear and they work. Your links must not be broken. Oftentimes I go into Facebook and I click on people's links, and the links leads me to a page that says 404 error. Have you ever seen one of those pages? It leads to nowhere. So Joe's saying, you mentioned scheduling a month's post. How do you do that? You can use Hootsuite to do it. And there's other software tools that you can use as well. So Hootsuite is one of the popular ones that you can use, Hootsuite, to be able to do that. So this is our Wenta page. Our page now has, it's Hootsuite, sweet as in S-U-I-T. So I think we're going to come to it a little bit later on, Joe. So on Facebook, one of the great things about Facebook is Facebook allows you to be able to decide what you want, what button you want to put on your business page. There are a lot of people out there that actually uses their Facebook page as their shopping page. There's a lot of people that sells e-commerce and they use Facebook to sell their products. There's a lot of people that do that. They don't have a website and they use Facebook to sell their products. So, you know, one of the things that they'll probably put on their button where you can see the word promote, they'll probably put buy now on there. So a lot of people do that. Now, again, going back to what I said originally, is it a good idea to only rely on social media to be able to store whatever it is that you're selling? I don't think so, because, you know, like I said originally, if it crashes, then whatever it is that you're selling is going to go down with it. Whereas if you've got a website, then at least you've got your own home on the internet. You know, but Facebook has got something what we call the news feed, and you will see a lot of content popping up in your news feed. That content doesn't pop up by accident, it's deliberate. So because of what you've researched on Google, remember Google speaks to all these different social media platforms. So, you know, because of what a lot of people research, Google will then tell the platforms. So when you go on social media, you're already being tracked. So, and I'll prove it to you. How many times have you gone on Google and you've clicked on something, a website, or you've gone to somewhere on a website, those cookies from that website is following you all around the web. The moment you get on to Facebook or Instagram or wherever, what's going to happen? A lot of the things that you were looking at originally starts popping up in your feed and you're thinking, how did that get there? Why am I seeing this particular ad in my Facebook newsfeed? It's because you were looking at something similar on Google. So, you know, and this is how it works. So Facebook and, you know, the algorithms is going to do a lot of the heavy lifting. So here on this button, this blue button, you can put manage shop if you're running a shop, and there's lots of people that runs a shop from Facebook. You know, you can put manage shop, or you know, when you go into the business suite, there's a whole plethora of different tools in the business suite. You know, that centralizes all the things that happens on Facebook. You can also create and schedule your posts as well from Facebook. Facebook allows you to schedule your posts. So, you know, you've just got to spend time on the platform and have a play with it and get to know it if you don't know it. And Facebook as well allows you to see all the analytics. So when you create a Facebook page, it won't show you the analytics from your personal profile page, but if you create a Facebook business page, it will show you the analytics. And you can learn a lot from the analytics. The analytics will show you what kind of content that you put out that people are reacting to the most. And the one that they react to the most is the one that you put out more of. It will show you, you know, how many people are liking your page, how much reach you're getting. Reach is very important because the more people The more of your potential ideal client that you reach, the better it is for you. The more people engage with your post, the better it is for you, because engagement means that there's a lot of activity happening on your post. So people will then be, the algorithms will draw people to where the activity is. Why does the algorithm does that? Because the algorithm loves activity and the algorithm wants people to stay on the platform. That's why it does that. Another thing that Facebook allows you to do in the background is you can put all your competitors in the back end of your business page, and you can measure their activity against yours. Some people like to do that. Some people don't do that. So it's personal preference, really. So the key performance indicators, again, Facebook allows you to measure reach, which is how many people in your network is going to see what you're putting out there. You've got to ensure that you're keeping track of what's happening on a monthly basis. One of the good things about what Facebook does as well, it will allow you to see how many people you reached within a given week or within a given month. So you can do it day to day, you can do it week to week, you can do it month to month. And it'll show you like graphs, and it'll show you whether your reach was low in, say, January, or whether it got high in February, or did it come down in March, or did it go back up in April. It will show you in a graph format what's happening with the posts and the content that you're putting out there. If your content that you're posting isn't reaching anybody, then you need to look at the kind of content that you're putting out, and you need to decide, do I really know my ideal client? When you know your ideal client, you'll know exactly what you need to post to attract them. If you don't know them, you'll end up posting the wrong things. And that's why I've spent a lot of time focused on the ideal client today. So let's talk a little bit about Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. So again, Instagram is owned by Facebook. And Facebook allows you to post, your images, your videos, and all that. And so does Instagram. Instagram is for people that are kind of mid-20s to early 30s. And a lot of people uses Instagram as a shop. They use Instagram as their shop front. And what do I mean by that? Well, I follow a particular influencer on Instagram, and I actually purchase cakes from this particular person. She's based in the Caribbean, and I purchase cakes that travel from the Caribbean all the way to me in the UK. And, she sells all of her products on Facebook and also on Instagram. So some people use Instagram as a shop. Now, Instagram has also got what you call reels. So if you've got something that you want to showcase, something that's very attractive, something that you want people to know about fairly quickly, post it in the Instagram reel, because it will stay there for 24 hours. And one of the advantages of Instagram is people who are not connected to you, they're not part of your circle on Instagram, will see the reel. And that's why when people are promoting something, they use the reel deliberately to do that. And Instagram loves that. They absolutely love it. It doesn't cost you anything to put what you want to showcase in an Instagram reel. But if you want to pay for paid advertising, then Instagram, you can do that when you are setting up anything in your editor in Facebook. So let me build that out a little bit. So I used to run a lot of Facebook ads. I think I've probably done, I don't know, maybe in excess of about 100 plus adverts on Facebook and on Instagram. And in the ads manager, there is something called the ads manager on Facebook, and that's where you run your ads from. Because Facebook owns Instagram, it allows you to be able to target your post to people on Instagram as well as to people on Facebook. So you can take one ad and run it to 2 different groups of people on 2 different platforms, because the platform is owned by Facebook. So you can do that. It allows you to do that. So that's what I mean by when I say people use Instagram as a shop where they can buy things. They buy and they sell on Instagram. You go on Instagram and have a look at all the different shops on Instagram. I was looking for someone to do nails once. I was looking for a nail technician, and I went straight to Instagram and found the person that I was looking for. So people set up their business on Instagram like a shop. Do you still need a website? Yes, I believe so, because remember, if Instagram crashes, you've got nothing. Everything that you're trying to sell goes down with it. So you still need to be able to continue your business, and it's safer to have your home on the internet. Joe said, I've tried to do that share. I've tried to do that, share Instagram to Facebook and vice versa, but could not work. Are you talking about you tried to do it through doing a paid ad? Is that what you mean, Joe? Can you be specific with what you mean, please? So I'll be able to answer your question in the best way that I can. So there's benefits of having, you know, Instagram being owned by Facebook, because like I said, you can take one advert that you want to send out and you can send it to both platforms. So, you know, there's lots of great things. Right. So can you do that with content rather than paid adverts? Yeah, you can repurpose your content, Joe. You can repurpose the content. You can create content for one platform, and you can repurpose that same content to be used on different platforms. You can do that, and you can go to canva.com, and in canva.com, they have different templates that you can use. They've got templates for Instagram, templates for Facebook, templates for Twitter. You know, you can post, you can choose whatever template to post on whatever platform you want to do. You don't need to go to the ads manager to do that. You're talking about something completely different, Joe. Okay, so then we have YouTube. This is what the YouTube interface looks like. And when you create a YouTube page, this is what you'll see. YouTube allows you to collate all of your videos in one place, so that if someone wants to go on your YouTube page, they'll be able to see all the videos that you've created, which is going to be good for you. So YouTube, again, remember, it's all about the how-tos. People like to see all the different types of how-to videos. They during lockdown, there was a lot of how-to videos that were out there, and people were learning how to do lots of different things. And you know, people started businesses because of the how-to videos that they were coming across on YouTube. Yeah, what I was talking about, because I was talking about paid ads, Joe. I was talking about if you're paying for an advert, while you're creating that advert on Facebook, in the ads manager, Facebook also allows you to click a button where you can tell that advert, you can tell Facebook, I also want that same advert to go out to Instagram. That's what I was saying. So you can create one advert, you can send it to Facebook, and you can also send it to Instagram. So it is content, but it's paid content. In terms of free content, You can't do that in the ads manager in terms of free content. You've got to do it on your Facebook page. So the advantages of YouTube, obviously it's free to use. You can upload videos and watch them at any time. You can also, it gives you the opportunity, to earn money. As I told you earlier on, you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours, over, and it doesn't even matter. There's not even a specific deadline on it. You've just got to have 4,000 watch hours, and it doesn't mean 4,000 individual people watching your content. It's, you could have one person watching your content over and over and over again, as long as YouTube collects 4,000 watch hours from that content, then they will start to put ads underneath it. So we've also got, we've spoken about YouTube, we've spoken about Instagram. I'm going to talk a little bit about Flickr in a minute and about Patreon before we close. So George is saying, what if on YouTube, put an info which is there for the first time? Right, let me read this slowly, George. What if on YouTube, put an info which is there for the first time ever? How do you protect it like intellectual property? That's a very good question. Remember that YouTube allows you to post content, and you wouldn't be able to do it as an intellectual property. And I'll tell you why. Because YouTube, people can actually make money, George, from taking your video. They would have to ask your permission, and they can still take it without your permission. But out of respect and courtesy, they would need to ask your permission, or should ask your permission, and they can make money out of repurposing your videos. YouTube permits that, George. So in terms of intellectual property, you wouldn't be protected in that sense, because and this is where you would need to read the fine print of the platform. They would expect you, if let's just say you did it, George, and then you decided, oh, I want to sue so-and-so because they're using my content. There are people over there that are suing people because they're using their content. Let me tell you what you can actually do, George. If you don't want anyone to use your content that is over on YouTube, you can strike them. You can tell YouTube, this person is using my content without my permission, and I want to take their page down. You can actually do that, because I've seen it done many a times. So you can do that if they're using it and you've reached out to them and you've said, please don't use my content, I'm not giving you permission to do this. You can actually strike their page and take it down. And a lot of people do that as well through, going through YouTube and do that and do it that way. So Patreon and YouTube, Patreon and Instagram, these are platforms that a lot of people use on a regular basis. And, we've just spoken about Instagram. Instagram is really designed for mobile phones. Instagram isn't really designed for desktop. So a lot of what you see on Instagram, you will view it mainly on a mobile phone. So just remember that. You can actually, Instagram will come up on your desktop, because I've brought it up on my desktop before, but it only shows you limited bits and pieces on your desktop, but it shows you everything on your mobile phone. I don't think there's a lot of people using Flickr, even though that there are. It's just not, Flickr's not as popular now as it used to be, but Flickr is very, very good for people who are creative. And, you've got to have great quality pictures in order to put on Flickr and Pinterest, because when people see those, like I say, you can subscribe to a lot of what you see on Flickr and Pinterest. People actually sell their pins on Flickr and Pinterest. So that's how they make money. And it's a very creative platform for creative people. Patreon tends to let people who are creatives, they have to subscribe to the platform. So people who are podcasters, writers, YouTubers have to pay a monthly subscription. So if you are following a particular YouTuber or someone who's a podcaster and they put their content up on YouTube, up on Patreon, you will have to subscribe to see that content. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people do that. When they don't want to give their content away for free, they just subscribe to Patreon and they'll say, if you want to see my content, you'll have to go and pay for it on Patreon because they're paying a subscription fee to be on that platform. So that's what Patreon is used for. So these are some of the management tools. So Hootsuite, I don't believe that they no longer have a free account. I think their accounts now are paid. But you can check the information, but I do believe they've got rid of their free account now. TweetDeck, Hootsuite's the most popular, but these are tools that you can use to manage your social media and manage scheduling your posts. So, it's good for you to kind of do some research on it and see what would be beneficial to you and your business and what would be affordable for you and your business. But these are software that you can use to do scheduling. But remember, if you're on Facebook, Facebook also allows you to schedule your posts as well. So this is what we've covered so far. And these are the links where you can reach out to us. So if you would like to book an appointment with me for me to do a deep dive in your business, then please feel free to reach out to us at info@wenta.co.uk, or you can call us on 01438 3100 20, and you could ask to book an appointment with myself. And I'd be quite happy to sit down and do a deep dive in your business. It's an hour, well, I say it's an hour, it's 45 minutes call, and then we spend the other 15 minutes writing up your notes and things. So I just want to take this time out right now to say thank you so much for being here to invest this time in yourself. And I hope this has been, very beneficial to you, and you've got something out of this, and there's something there that you can take and apply to your business straight away. Do look out for the rest of our training webinars that are coming up. You'll get emails. Do open the emails and do read them. And, for those of you that have spoken about, streaming, I will look at, thinking about doing a webinar on streaming. So Gwyneth is saying, let me just go back. Gwyneth is saying, thanks, Carol. It's been informative and useful. Charlene says, thank you very much. Very informative. Jan says, first class. Thank you so much, Jan. Charlene says, and exciting. Chris says, thank you. You're so welcome, guys. Joe says, thank you very much. I need to review the whole thing because there's so much information. Yes, there is, Joe, but you will get a copy of the slides and also this webinar for free. Don't forget to go and have a look at our net zero. Go to wenta.co.uk. All of you go and sign up for Net Zero Bronze. It's completely free. Get that badge and put it on your websites, put it on your social media pages, so people will know that you are involved in a sustainable strategy. That's attractive to business owners. Charlene says, you're amazing. You're amazing too, Charlene. Thank you so much for being here. Gloria says, bravo, outstanding as always. Gloria, you've been on quite a few of my webinars, haven't you? Thank you so much, Gloria. Gloria, remind me, are you the lady who lives in the US? Are you the lady that is from the United States? Just remind me. Yes. So George says, big thank you. You're so welcome, George. Gloria says net zero bronze. Yes, net zero bronze is completely free. Lee says, thank you so much. Gloria says, yes, San Diego. Gloria, I always like to ask you this question. What time is it there now in San Diego? Let everybody know what time it is. So Gwyneth says, I've booked an appointment for you tomorrow at 12. Oh, that was very quick, Gwyneth. Okay, no problem. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow. So Gloria's saying it's 9 a.m. That means you joined us at 6 a.m., Gloria. Gloria, I take my hat off to you. Thank you so much for being here and for joining us so early in the morning. We really appreciate you and thank you. I just want to say to all of you, have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I hope, to see you all on the next live. And I wish you all the very best in your businesses. And I'm confident that you're going to be successful, but stay connected with Wenta. Do invest in the webinars that we're delivering. Gloria will tell you, we deliver quite a lot of good stuff here. And just make sure that you do become part of the Wenta family. And, do go and have a look at what we've got on our website and what you can get to support you in your small business. So take good care. Thank you so much for being here. Charlene, you can go to, let me go back to the slide for you, Charlene. Here's the slides. info@wenta.co.uk, or you can call us on 01438 3100 20. Take good care, and I'll see you on the next live.